Let's Scooby-Doo this thing. We're going to go on the way back. Remember Joe Cronin last year.
You won't see from this group a lack of trying or a lack of innovation or a lack of creativity. We're going to be ridiculously aggressive to the point where once we push our chips all the way in, like deal to deal, you might look and say, wow, they lost that deal. They gave a lot for that guy. But no, that's just us pushing our chips in. We feel extremely obligated to put a great roster around Damian Lillard. And when I say we, that's from the top. Jody and I have had a lot of conversations about how important it is for us to do right by Damian.
Well, he's gone, and the Blazers' big aggressive move is Dalano Banton.
Yeah, this is just a move to get to 14.
Oh, yeah, you need to have 14 guys on your roster.
Guys, yes. So they floated the 10 days with Taze Moore. So now that they're at 14, the question I think that at least I had going into this was, would they get out of the deadline with 13? And if so, who would they convert from their two-way guys? Would Baji be converted? Would Reith be converted? And I think the Blazers, if not both, will convert probably one between now and the end of the year, perhaps. But I would imagine this summer, one of them is 100% going to get a full NBA deal, for sure.
Got to do it. Is it going to be the 27-year-old rookie or
28-year-old?
28-year-old rookie?
Wap is 28 now. Look, for what it's worth, Wap is just a good backup big. Like he just is, and I don't think he's going to have a shortage of suitors this summer. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Blazers are able to convert him now and kind of keep him in house, or have to kind of fight to retain his services.
Ashton Hagans has been signed to a 10-day contract as well.
There you go.
By the Blazers.
I would imagine
he's a remix guy.
I would imagine they're doing that to float some bodies at the guard spot. Because they'd already signed Taze Moore. They didn't want to do it again because of Shaedon Sharpe's injury. It's a break glass in case of emergency ball handler.
I feel like the way this happened was they were nearing the deadline. Cronin was like, we need to get to 14. We're not really comfortable with converting those two ways, like you said right now. He called Brad Stevens like, dude, I gave you Drew Holiday. You're the best team in the East. I need a player.
It's also probably, I need to look at
Banton isn't getting minutes. He won't get minutes in Boston. And so you send a heavily protected second-round pick, which is 55 or worse. So you called it the Mo Harkless special, and I love that.
That's what Mo Harkless was traded for.
That's it.
That's what the Blazers traded to the Orlando Magic to get him in, was that 2015, 2016?
And here's the bigger picture here, and what the Portland Trail Blazers did, I think, is it needs to be discussed, because Banton is not going to be a guy that he doesn't blow anybody's hair back. He's not going to be a difference maker on this team or take them to a height that the Blazers aren't expecting to get to this season anyways. That's what we should have expected at the deadline. Moves along the margins, moves along the periphery, because was there anybody traded today that would change the future of the Portland Trail Blazers moving forward?
No.
I mean, that's across the league. Whether you want to say Buddy Hield, but what do you want?
PJ Washington, if you squint.
If you squint, maybe, are you going to trade Daniel Gafford for Daniel Gafford and have a backup center who's been starting somewhere else?
Yeah.
No.
Again, Gafford, a player that I like, but
he's a good player, but you've got DeAndre Ayton, he's a starting center. They need front court help.
You've got Wap. You've got Baji. Look, is Gafford better than those guys? Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. But
yes, he is.
The money situation, fit situation, like what you would have to give up to make something work there and stay under the tax. And people say, "Oh, why you have to be under the tax to spend money?" It's like, look, the reality of this is not a unique to Portland situation. If you're a rebuilding team, if you're a retooling team, and you are in the tax, you are being dumb.
Yes,
it's not even like a money situation. It's you're limiting the things that you can do transactionally, and if you're going to do that, that's operational malfeasance. Which, my God, the Detroit Pistons are.
Yes, they are.
The Pistons are a complete S show, and we'll talk about them as we kind of progress through this. But as far as the Blazers go, I was surprised they made a transaction.
But it was only to get the 14th player on the roster.
A flyer on a 6'8" guard. Again, prioritizing some size and taking a flyer on somebody. You're still under because they don't want to say they were like $5 million under the tax threshold, and his guarantee for the rest of the year is I think $2 million. So they don't mess anything with that. It probably saves Boston a crap ton of money. It probably saves them $10-ish million, $8 to $10 million, because they're way above the tax threshold after they made the moves for Porzingis and Drew Holiday.
But if we're being honest with ourselves and with the Blazers, all right, let's look at the guys that were dealt at the deadline.
The biggest names that were dealt.
Well, you did that would help Portland. I think you said PJ Washington. That would be a guy that you go 25 years old. He's got 3 years remaining on his deal. I think that would have been it. But they also gave up Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a 2027 first-round pick.
That first-round pick is probably the most valuable thing that changed hands this deadline.
And why would you give up that for a guy who's got 3 years and you're not in a win-now window? Yeah. Look at what Dallas has. Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. They need to win, and they need to win now.
And they need to prove to Luka that they will do whatever it takes to keep trying. And they tried this before by giving up a swap and going and getting Grant Williams, who, God, that deal blew up in their face quick.
You wouldn't want to go out and get like Daniel House like the Detroit Pistons did, which was to be determined draft compensation.
Also, he's been released, or he's been
30 years old. That was a luxury tax move, but none of those other moves really made sense. Marcus Morris, old, don't want him, doesn't fit timeline, doesn't really change what you do. Like none of these things, none of these guys. So if you were Portland, look at what was out there. Not much, and really all the moves that were made, with the exception of the PJ Washington one and maybe the Gordon Hayward one.
It's the shuffling of deck chairs.
They were to get other teams under the luxury tax and moves on the margins, moves on the periphery. Teams that are rebuilding.
It was getting their books right. That's really what it was.
Teams, and that's what Portland did with getting the 14th player, is essentially you just said, all right.
And the Pistons decided after investing 1,000 minutes into Killian Hayes and keeping Jaden Ivey off the floor that they are just going to outright waive Killian Hayes. Which...
Question.
Yikes.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Who the hell plays tonight for the Detroit Pistons?
That was the next thing I was going to look at.
They are in Portland tonight, and they traded 4 guys.
Mm-hmm. And they traded guys yesterday too.
Well, I think with yesterday's moves, they traded 4 guys. Anybody that they traded for yesterday or today, obviously not going to be in the lineup tonight.
I mean,
the guys that they did trade,
if they passed a physical, they could go tonight.
I think I saw Casey Holdahl earlier say that the Pistons have 9 guys and 2 two-way guys.
You know what? I'm going to this game. Me and my buddy Matt are going to this game. By the way, Cade Cunningham is day to day.
Hey, look,
you get Jaden Ivey, Stuart Thompson.
Did you see what the Pistons did last night?
No,
they absolutely blew the doors off the Kings in the fourth quarter.
I actually did see that.
Jaden Ivey had 19 in the fourth.
Their 7th win of the year.
Yeah.
You are going to get, and that's the thing.
You might get the inspired young kids tonight.
You just get kids for 48 minutes. Yeah. And I'm actually excited to go to this game now.
I'm bummed that Cade's not going to play because, they only come once a year. And last year he was hurt. So that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I just want that one to sneak up on people there.
I'm bummed Cade's not playing.
But they will not have Isaiah Stewart. Quentin Grimes, who they acquired, obviously not going to play.
Archie Diacono might hop on a plane and be back in Portland again.
Former Blazer great.
And continue to not score at all this season.
20 straight games without scoring.
What an amazing stat line.
Look, if you saw
NBA record.
If you saw the scars on his back from his back surgery, you'd be like, how are you walking, let alone playing an NBA game?
Carrying Villanova.
Right? He was a vibes guy there. That's what he was. And I mean, Arch is a great dude.
He's awesome.
It's up there with the Ish Smith All-Stars.
Handsome man.
Mm-hmm.
Handsome man, too.
Cash that check. Lovely hair.
Yeah.
Lovely hair.
I don't think he's going to like Detroit.
I don't think so either.
Actually, Detroit's on the come up. They've done a decent job with the city of Detroit.
I will tell you this.
They've cleaned it up.
The best media room food in sports.
Is it Little Caesars?
They have Little
Pizza,
Caesars,
pizza.
but they
Crazy
also have a order to go grill.
Oh, look at that.
it's-
Wow.
Yeah, they take care of you there.
For all 8 people going to cover those games.
Nah,
for the
man,
Pistons.
people make that trip because it's on the way to Chicago or Cleveland or literally anywhere else.